Anatogu. He is the Senior Special Assistant to the Nigerian President, President Muhammadu Buhari. They will be joining me. The role of African diaspora in the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement that was signed by the African Union. Thank you for joining me on today's show. Let me go to Our Excellency first. Our Excellency, hello, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good evening from Nigeria, Abdurrashid. Very, very good to be here. And thank you for organizing this.
Thank you, Excellency. Also, let me say hello to Dr. Guevara Yao. He's also joining me from Washington, D.C. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Abdura. It is a pleasure to be part of this discussion. Very important topic, very timely topic. Good morning and good afternoon to people on the continent.
Yeah, thank you so much. Also, my very good big brother, Mr. Francis Anatogu, the Senior Special Assistant to Nigerian President, President Muhammadu Buhari on public sector, is also on the show today. Hello to you, sir. Are you joining from UK or Nigeria?
So I'm joining from Nigeria. Good evening, everyone. I'm joining from Abuja, Nigeria. A place to be here.
Okay, thank you so much. I thought Mr. Muhammad also is joining me from Egypt. He's representing Mrs. Kanayo Awani. Mr. Muhammad. Hello? Okay, I'm still expecting Mrs. Kanayo Awani from Afrexim Bank in Cairo. Our Excellency, let's jump to the to business. On African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, the implementation of this agreement was suspended. It was supposed to be launched in on July 7th, but it was suspended. What feelings does that give you, Ma?
Thank you very much. I'm glad that the Senior Special Assistant is here as well, because we've been working together on this. It doesn't really portend any real issues. I'm sure you are all aware we've had the issues of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has actually affected a lot of things, including physical meetings. If you are talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, you are talking about several countries, getting together to look at things and adopt policies. Sometimes you have the meetings on the floor of the ECOWAS, or sometimes on the floor of the AU meetings and things like that. So as with everything around the world at the moment, the COVID-19 has put a little bit of a slowdown on things, but I think it's also given us some time to actually look inward at some things that Nigeria actually really needs to consider, before, and add that to the topic, so to speak, including personnel, things like personnel, things like all what we need to have on the table. And I look forward to further meetings for us to finalize on things, and we look forward to it being continuing very, very soon.
Mr. Francis, how ready is Nigeria on the launch of AfCFTA?
Okay, thank you very much. I think I had that question a lot, and lately I started asking people. We are in Africa, where we don't have access to mortgage and all of that. And I ask you, do you need to save 100% of the cost of a house before you start building one? And the answer is no. So no country is 100% ready to embark on this program. But the important thing to note is that this is potentially a very transformative program. We need to look at it from, for so long, we have been trying to diversify our export base. For so long, we have been trying to industrialize. And the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement provides you a preferential, so it prevents you a safe area, if you will, without tariffs and people coming together to break barriers to be able to trade together. So really, when it is something that we go in with what we have, and then we keep improving. But besides that, there are so many programs ongoing. The current administration have prioritized infrastructure, roads, rail. We've had a number of reform programs in place, like the reforms on ease of doing business. We have so many financing initiatives targeted at businesses and SMEs. So, and these are things that will improve your readiness. And again, I say, if you do all of this, but you don't have the market to sell it, what have you achieved? So exactly. it's about actually doing all you need to do domestically, right? Doing all you need to do to improve competitiveness, and then make sure that the market is there. What this means is that you are in a better position to compete with the
global market
in trade.
Okay, so Dr. Guevara, so most diaspora remittances, are for consumption purposes due to the state of affairs, or Africa economy. How do you think this can help build the true CFTA?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rashid, for this important question. There's no doubt that diaspora are truly playing a very important role. We see the number of diaspora that we have across the world. They are very important, and I think for this important development on the CFTA, the diaspora has a big role to play, for sure. And like you said, it is true that diaspora right now are using the remittances for mostly consumption. And in order for these remittances, which are massive, by the way, just to give you a perspective, last year alone, you have close to 49 billion US dollars that were remitted by diaspora into the continent. This is actually close to the overseas development aid or assistance. It's also very close to the FDI that has been seen on the continent.
Right.
So, but I think for this to happen, for the diaspora to play that big role, and for the remittances to play the intended role, a lot of things need to change. For sure, we need to change the way things are done. For example, one has to think of creating innovative financial instruments that will help really channel those remittances into productive investments. You've seen the example in Ethiopia with the Renaissance Dam with the diaspora bonds. You can also have a situation where the diaspora could actually co-invest with the African businesses and government. Truly at the early day of the African free trade area. And this will really give a big signal to the world that the diaspora indeed can play a big role. But it's not going to be easy. This will require a massive undertaking, a massive coordination. Unfortunately, we don't have all the pieces in place as we speak.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree. I quite agree with you that it requires a massive and also massive preparedness as well. Excellency, let me come back to you. Most women today run MSMEs. Do you think the system supports such business, especially when it comes to export?
I lost you there. Could you repeat the question?
I said,
you've frozen out on me.
Okay, I said today most women run MSMEs.
Yes.
Do you think AfCFTA support system? So do you think it supports such system?
Well, of course, from time
when it comes to exports.
Yes, from time immemorial, that women play such an active role in MSMEs.
Yes.
Women are in the marketplace. Women are the ones who, you have the mother of the market and things like that. So
Right.
they play a very crucial role in MSME, in kiosks, in all these things. So they drive the economy at that level. So we have always had in Africa these informal processes that support such systems. However, the AfCFTA is geared towards trade among African countries. So what we have on ground already will be amplified. And it is certainly the MSMEs that will be main beneficiaries of the policy. The system will support their businesses as the export rate, products, and other locally made commodities will find their way into markets where hitherto they may not have had any presence. For instance, I was talking at an event recently, and they asked me about the actual fee that we have in Kwara State, for instance. Now, this is being requested for in faraway places like Central Africa, Southern Africa. We already have the West African market that we're working with. But if you have all that going on already, so you see that there's a ready market for them. And I believe the processes will support them. So women in that regard will definitely also find favor with government in government policies. It's already happening. In Kwara, we had the CBN come and have some lectures and some processes, a workshop, and so many other things on soft loans. Now, the government of Kwara also has put together a package where you talk about agriculture and soft loans for farmers and small and medium scale enterprises. This is all to get this market ready. We've also been talking about the cocoa renaissance and export of cocoa all over. And we've also done that as well. It's been planted, all over the place. So I would say that states are already getting ready. In Nigeria for this process. And there would definitely be more support. Like I said, the CBN is already on board. State governments are already on board. The federal government is on board already. So definitely, we would see that there will be more support for us to be able to move our products into other parts of Africa.
Okay, I will get that insight from Excellency. Thank you so much, Excellency. Let me come back to you, Mr. Francis. So what supports exist for Nigeria MSMEs, to partake fully in AfCFTA on the federal government level?
Okay, thank you for that. So already, and this has been happening. The program of government has been such that the AfCFTA is one of the pillars that it has been pursuing, or one of the development pillars, if you will. Now, if you come to export trade and MSMEs in particular, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is an agency that is established by an act of the National Assembly. Right. And it's there to develop export traders, including MSMEs. So, and they provide training, they provide market information, they take them actually to trade fairs in Africa and other parts of the world. So there is an active program there with MSMEs in particular, but also other businesses. there is an agency, the SMIDAN, which is an agency for small and medium enterprise development, for their development, and that's focused on MSMEs.
Okay.
You've got a number of programs for capacity development,
Right.
and CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, has been very, very active in terms of providing finance. So in terms of building capacity, in terms of providing finance, in terms of actually helping to organize them, there are activities going on there. And you may also know there is the MSME clinic, which is actually anchored at the level of the vice president. So really, having working very closely with MSMEs to understand their problems, clear laser focus on their problems, and taking them one by one and solving them. So there are a lot of initiatives. Now, within the AfCFTA, we are also looking at what we have ongoing with the specific lens of Africa and saying, okay, so what else do we need to do? And that is part of the roadmap that we are currently doing at the National Action Committee for AfCFTA.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. Dr. Guevara, let me come back to you real quick on this important question posted by one of my audience. Do you see plurality? Do you see the plurality of language in Africa? We have Arab, French, Portuguese, to mention a few, a change to AfCFTA, because I was in Cairo during the last intra-Africa trade, and there were so many challenges in terms of people getting their product to market in Cairo on ground. Even some people who spoke to us said that they couldn't get their market out till the end of the event, which was a 7-day stretch event. So what's your take, Dr. Guevara?
Well, thank you. I think it's important to note that Africa has many languages, right. And if you take all the regional blocks that you have across the world, you also have similar setting. So although it may appear that language could be an issue, I think in practice it is not. If you look at the European Union, you have close to 24 languages, and they are still arguably one of the best, economic success, block. So I don't think it's really going to be an issue. What we need to really focus on is to make sure we have mutual trust, and then share vision. Unless there is a shared vision toward which all of us are working in achieving, it will be difficult because then you will have this dichotomy between languages, and that could create some issues. So I think to sum up, I think what is important is really to work toward a shared vision and make it possible to really overcome the language barrier and work toward the entire community goal. This to me is what needs to be focused on, not really the language. Of course, a common language, having a common language will help. But if you work on harmonizing policies, just like we have seen, for example, in the ECOWAS region, where you have Portuguese, you have English, you have French, but they are able to work on harmonizing trade policies that make sure that they work toward a common vision. So I think this is what is important to focus on.
Okay, so my producer is telling me that we have to take a quick break. But before we go on that break, Excellency, I want you to answer this question for me. Do you again, do women-owned MSMEs stand a chance compared to conglomerates like Dangote, who will likely muzzle out small businesses because of their financial power? So do you think women-owned MSMEs stand any chance in the market?
Well, you talked about conglomerates.
Right.
And, I think when I was answering my last question, I spoke about the fact that we operate trade and investment and export on different levels. So the conglomerates have their market, so to speak. The MSMEs and the small traders have their own market as well. So I never ever see that they would muscle them out. For example, women typically comprise of about 70% of the informal cross-border traders across Africa already. So, that I don't think will stop. They are frequently the primary breadwinners of their families, and they enjoy the support at the very, very local level. In fact, I had some meetings with female groups, with the farmers, female MSMEs, female entrepreneurs, and all that. And they are already geared up to do all that they can. And I believe it's part of any conglomerate's, it should be part of their ethos, not to, damage such an industry already.
Right.
And I think they're already working together on that. In fact, I would go as far as to say it should be part of the corporate social responsibility of any corporate or of any conglomerate to make sure that that active informal sector remains in place.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that would work for it.
Okay.
Are you on?
Right. No, I'm here. I'm here, ma.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
So, so women, in this project and their role cannot, their role cannot be overemphasized because, across the African continent, you already spoke about, your other speaker already spoke about West Africa and what we're doing. Companies like Dangote are in West Africa. They are in Kwara, actually, doing a lot of work and working already with these informal sector and all these other women. So I don't see how there would be a problem with the African continental free trade conglomerates and women traders.
Okay. Yeah, so let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will continue.
I think I'll stop there.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, Her Excellency, Dr. Mrs. Olufolake Abdulrazak, First Lady, Kwara State, Governor of Nigeria. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion on the role of African diaspora in the implementation
like there's a bit of a delay.
In the implementation of AfCFTA. Don't go away. We'll return back.
Are we all fair?
Welcome back to the new Frontier Africa. My name once again is Abdul Rashid Abu Bakr. On the show today, I have Mr. Francis Anatogu, Senior Special Assistant to the Nigerian President on Public Sector. And also I have Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Olufolake Abdulrazak, First Lady, Kwara State, Nigeria, and she's also coordinator for the Nigeria Foreign Affairs on AfCFTA. And also, I have joining me in Washington, D.C., Dr. Guevara Yao. He's the Senior Director, Central and West Africa for the U.S. Chambers of Commerce. Welcome again. Let me come back to you quick, Dr. Mr. Francis. Once again, let me come back to you on this question. So Nigeria companies struggle to survive, when it comes to local competition. How will they now cope with African competition?
Okay, thank you for that. So interestingly, part of, if you remember, Nigeria delayed a bit before we signed the AfCFTA, and one of the things that we did was, we had to conduct an impact and readiness assessment of the AfCFTA as a result of some of the concerns that stakeholders raised. And what we found is that, with AfCFTA, Nigerian companies would actually be competitive. They actually make more money selling to Africa, and they would prefer to sell to Africa. So that in itself, apart from the fact that they'll be earning a foreign currency, but also the margins are better. So really, it is to our advantage in that regard. Now, in terms of when you say the competition at home, that competition is a function of the competitiveness issues of power, issues of roads, issues of access to finance, and so on.
Yes.
So and these are the issues that are already being tackled. There are a number of initiatives on power that are ongoing, and the impact will be visible in the medium term. If you look at it, like I mentioned when I spoke earlier, the current government has prioritized infrastructure.
Okay.
So there's a lot of investment going into infrastructure. And then I talked about the ease of doing business that we've been championing as well. So there are a number of initiatives that are ongoing.
Okay.
What Africa provides as well. In some areas, you have competitive advantage. So some areas we will be competitive in Africa. In some other sectors may struggle. So it is for us, as part of our readiness program, which we have the National Action Committee looking at it, is to define that kind of adjustment program to look at those sectors, those products that will not be competitive, and either help the businesses to reskill, retool, or move to other areas. But it's about it has some people will gain, and some people and some areas will struggle, and you have to support those areas that will struggle.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Francis. Dr. Yao, let me come back to you quick. How do you think ECO, the monetary going on how do you think ECO can be made to work for the good of AfCFTA?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think looking at the ECO, which is the common currency that the ECOWAS region is actually looking at, it is with no doubt that if you have a common currency, that could be a good foundational piece for the puzzle of having a strong monetary union. And I think it will be a no-brainer that this is definitely good for any successful free trade area. This also could be very important for Africa, which continue to have quite a number of challenges. And those challenges could, the African market that is extremely fragmented, fluctuation of and instability across the market. You also have exchange rates and competitive devaluation that you also see in the market. So having a common currency, just like the way ECOWAS is looking at, have quite some advantage, just like I just said. I know ECOWAS is currently having 8 different currencies, right? You have 8. So instead of having those 8, if you boil down to one currency, that could be very interesting. That will reduce some transactional costs that we see in the region. But having said that, I think it is, for it to happen, the way ECOWAS is really envisioning, it is going to call for a lot of political will, and for everyone to abide to the rules that have been put together. So I don't think this is what we are seeing now. You all heard about the issue between the Francophone countries and the Anglophone countries.
Yes.
In ECOWAS for the ECO, and we have been actually looking at it very carefully. But to me, what is really important in absence of all this is to have what we call a good payment system, a payment system that will really guarantee currency convertibility and financial integration. And I believe AfCFTA Bank is actually working to support the payment system at the continental level. This is really what we have. But for the ECO to really work, we believe that you need to have a strong commitment from all the actors that are involved for it to work. If they have it, that would definitely be a plus. And that could be maybe scale up at the continental level, because this is also part of what the continent is looking ultimately. But I think this is all I have to say for now. But
okay,
it's an interesting question.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Guavere. Let me come back to Excellency, Dr. Mrs. Olufalake. What have you done to sensitize the women of Kwara State, on the opportunities of AfCFTA, on the opportunity AfCFTA presents to the women of Kwara State? What have you done?
Thank you. Well, I think at the beginning of this program, I mentioned that I had gone with some women to an event where I took some of our products from Kwara, which includes the ashoke, which we call in Kwara ashofi.
Hello, Excellency. Hello. I think her network is, having some problem. Mr. Francis.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let me come back to you. I will when I have Excellency back, online. I will go back and we can get a response to that. Let me come back to you. Is there, is there a plan for companies like NNPC, NL, NG, NGC to actively partake in Africa trade?
So I think the first thing is, are there opportunities? The answer is yes.
Okay.
And if you look at the trade statistics, petroleum, refined petroleum is a top traded product in Africa, and that's where these companies that you mentioned play. Nigeria, we have a lot of oil and gas, and so really that yes, there's that opportunity. Now, in terms of the specific plans, I know that there are some plans, but all these plans would have to, within the context of AfCFTA, will be part of what we are doing to say, okay, these are the opportunities that we can take advantage of. But it's all for us from the perspective of AfCFTA. It's all part of the roadmap that we are developing um, um, right now.
Okay, Excellency, I think I have you back. Your reaction to the last question? I said I think
yes, I was indeed. I was indeed, and suddenly you were not there while I was waxing onto my answer. So so I will just say quickly that in Kwara State we're looking at a three-pronged approach to sensitizing female entrepreneurs. We've held meetings with female entrepreneur clusters, such as the Association of Women Small-Scale Industrialists, Female Farmers Association, the Association of Tailors and Fashion Designers, who were presented avenues to promote their trade, even outside the state. And that was the one that I was just giving you the example of taking them, about 8 designers and producers of the fabric. And they were able to sell off all this fabric. And we had a seminar there actually talking about the AfCFTA and the new opportunities that it would bring, to the state and to generally female entrepreneurs. And they were able to sit and imbibe all that and look at how they'll be able to key into this. So workshops and seminars also to equip women with basic knowledge that would be crucial to their success as it relates to AfCFTA. And then I've done a lot of skills acquisition programs, to train women and to make sure that, we increase their capacity. Because the one thing is when you introduce them into a business, if they are now in that sphere and are now needed to produce more, we can't have them collapse under that, because we've seen a few businesses that are doing so well, but on a very small scale, so that when you now tell them to produce a lot more, they don't have the capacity. So it is important that we continue to hold these skills acquisition programs, train and retrain, and increase their capacity across the board, so that they can they are able to be able to produce,
to succeed,
to sustain this production.
Right.
Technical knowledge. This is in response to what I've just said, the low productive capabilities, both in quantity and in quality. Because that's another thing we have to look at very, very closely. Because if you are saying that we should start exporting all our things into other parts of Africa, we need to make sure that the quality is of such that it will be comparable to what they have in those markets, and Nigerian products will not fall short quality-wise. So that if that happens, then there'll be inability to compete in that regional value chain. But hopefully, we've done a lot to make sure that this would not happen. So technical knowledge on intra-regional trade is very important to address bottlenecks, such that women entrepreneurs need to be capacitated on packaging, labeling, certification of their products in a way that meets the minimum standards in inter-regional trade. In fact, this happened with one of our producers recently, the cocoa. I talked about cocoa earlier. So yes, we've got the farmers and the cocoa. But then in Kwara, we're actually now producing fine chocolate, which, is packaged so well, so nicely. If you see this, you would not believe that, this is being done in Kwara. Okay. And that's what we're looking at, because if that lands in any market, even abroad, it will pass any quality control tests. So these are the things. They need trade knowledge, things like social service competence, based on training that requires export documentation, if so required, certificates of origin, if so required, all these certificates, rules of origin, if so needed. Because, the one thing we have right now is the challenge of transportation in Africa.
Africa,
I mean,
yes.
we've talked about this at all levels. And I was even at the Export Promotion Council recently, and I actually spoke about this as well. Because sometimes if you are exporting to other parts of the continent, they sometimes take it to Europe first. For instance, we were looking at flowers, and we have such good quality soil to produce all these very exotic flowers and modern flowers. And we realized that the current market we have in Nigeria, some of the flowers are actually taken to places like Brussels first, before it now comes back to Lagos, you know, for you. You know, so this is what we're talking about. And this is the problem of transportation and refrigeration. Yes, and refrigeration. Because sometimes if you need to transport things, if it cannot go by air, it has to go by rail or by road or by sea. Now, you know, so the issues of transportation and refrigeration come in, especially where you have a very, very, you know, the products that are very fresh and need to be kept at certain temperatures. You know, so business knowledge, globalization is increasingly, you know, shifting the production frontier in terms of product quality and service, leading to changes in both consumer and business preferences. Women-led SMEs need to be aware of such market variations in order to produce and trade in demand-driven commodities as a way of enhancing their competitiveness in regional value chains. You know, so also we need to advocate for the review of legal and policy frameworks that would favor Nigeria, you know, and promote the use of ICT-based procurement systems. Additionally, capacity building programs would be implemented targeting women-owned businesses in the use of ICT-based e-procurement systems. I'm sure you know why we need to do this, because a farmer in Kwara sending their goods to another part of Africa, you know, they need to follow this all the way through, not get lost. I mean, I was told of a story somewhere where somebody sent some goods somewhere and suddenly the goods were missing. You know, it could no longer be traced after a certain point. So this is why we need all these systems in place. And we've been doing that, you know, with all the women in conjunction, you know, with other, you know, government agencies. I told you I went to the Export Promotion Council and did a paper. The governor has been doing so much on this. And we continue to work. You mentioned earlier that I am in the foreign ministry still, and I work on all these matters, and that is how come I relate with Mr. Natogu, because you know, on the action committee, for these whole things for the federal government. So these are the things that we're looking at. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Don't go away. I'll still come back to you know, to you for your message to Aquarians in the diaspora. But before that, let me go back to Dr. Yale in Washington, D.C. Dr. Yale, let's be sincere. What do you think, what are the greatest barrier in your view to the AfCFTA? Well, you know, Africa, like you are representing the African diaspora. In your perspective, what do you think, you know, what are the greatest barrier to the implementation?
Well, I think there's quite a number of barriers. I think the outlook is good, but there is some barriers that we need to be frank about. I think the first barrier that I see is really this pandemic, the COVID that we've seen that have even postponed the actual, you know, implementation of the CFT, right? So the COVID, as you've seen, that is going to wipe almost 25 years of, of economic gain that we have seen in the country. This, the continent is expected to have a negative growth for the past 25 years. And that will call for countries to really divert the needed resources to the attention of taking care of healthcare and economic response. And I'm afraid this will divert, the attention away from the CFTA as we have seen it. I also heard that the CFTA could be a stimulus plan for Africa. That is true. Provided Africans are able to push that, the government are able to push that at the forefront of the agenda, it could be definitely an issue to really look at. The second issue that I can also foresee has to do with the negotiation. Right now we have 54 out of 55 countries that have basically signed, about 30 countries that have ratified so far.
And about 28 submitted.
Yeah, submitted. So, there is discussion regarding rule of origin, discussion regarding the most favored nation, even monitoring and implementation framework. All those things are important discussion that will happen. So it is important that the Secretariat really work in making sure that they have an agreement that is that bring actually incentive for intra-regional trade. And if the negotiation are really worked and everybody abides to the actual provision of the negotiation, I believe that will be a plus for the country. The last challenge that I here, it has to do with the infrastructure. I mean, the infrastructure gap in Africa is huge. We have close to 130, 170 billion infrastructure expenditure that is needed every year. We've close to a gap of 52 to 92 billion a year. That's massive. Unless you have roads that connect, unless you have airports, you have free movement of people across the continent. People are able to establish themselves, leaving Nigeria, going to Egypt and establish a business. Unless all those things are really put together and everybody abide to that rule, it will definitely be an issue. And I think we have to look into that. Definitely, if the CFTA is implemented right, we foresee that intra-Africa trade will be boosted by 33% if you lift all the tariff. So that is quite a good outlook, but provided all the rules are respected, all the players, all the key stakeholders play the role that is expected from them.
Let me come back to you. Thank you, Dr. Yao. Let me come back to you, Mr. Francis. And this is very serious, important question again from my viewers. So many people, including Nigerians in the diaspora, doubt that Nigeria has what it takes to lead or be Africa's biggest economy. What is your take on this? And this is going to be your last, discussion. So, come on.
Okay, so what you cut off for a second or so. I said, what the question is, does Nigeria have what it takes to lead Africa in AfCFTA? Is that the question?
Yeah, yes, that is the question. I said because so many people, including Nigerians in the diaspora, doubt, that Nigeria has what it takes to lead Africa. So if they have that doubt, or B, they have the doubt also that Nigeria can be Africa's biggest economy.
Okay, so I mean, it's thank you for that. So there's that fear, incidentally, over the past 3 years that I've been working on this, if you get 10 people in a room, you have 5 people rooting go, and 5 people saying, no, we're not ready. So that is it. But like I started with, the important thing is, what are we trying to achieve? It is important to answer that question, what we are trying to achieve. And why are we being deliberate in how we are approaching AfCFTA? Nigeria being the biggest market, we are the target of other countries. That is true. But also, there's a market, Africa, from what we've seen in terms of goods and services, Africa imports about $650 billion of products and services on an annual basis. So really, it's about being deliberate. I like what Dr. Yao said about. He kept talking about. He talked the salient points about rules of origin. He talked about infrastructure. He talks about respecting the rules. These are critical success factors. And it is important that all these factors are met, but it's not a light bulb. It's not a light switch.
So do you think that Nigeria have what it takes to lead?
Yes, we do have what it takes to lead, yes. And we are leading. We are moving. We are moving deliberately at our own pace towards realizing the goals of AfCFTA. It is important to know that what we need to get in place for AfCFTA is the same thing we need to get in place to trade successfully with the rest of the world.
So do we have those things in place?
It is being put in place. Yes, we are trading today. It is being put in place, and it can only grow. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, you start from where you are, and you grow from there.
From there. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that insight. Excellency, what message do you have for Quarians, Nigerians in the diaspora?
Thank you very much for that. That's a very important question, especially being thrown at somebody who's been a diplomat and served in various countries abroad and having dealt with a lot of diasporans abroad. So, they are people that I'm very proud of. They've done so much for Nigeria, and they work very well. Now, for the Kwara diasporans, it is so important that they continue in what they've been doing. But then, if you do a good job, you're asked to do even more. So we want them to go into Kwara, into areas, that we haven't hitherto explored. I recently myself, and then later on the governor, we went all the way to Owu Falls in Kwara. Not a lot of people know that there is a beautiful waterfall, and we're told that this waterfall is the tallest natural falling waterfall in West Africa. Yes. So it is a sight to behold. It's beautiful. So we want such things emphasized. We need tourism. We need, all these sort of things. We are currently working. It's just been spoken about. Working on things like art space. Art space. Maybe looking towards Kwara Biennale. We're looking at things like the Kwara Fashion Week. We want the diasporans to make sure that they're part of all this. Remittances are fine. And, obviously people appreciate remittances from abroad, but it also works very well when you are actually part of the process. And, you come and yeah, when you are part of the processes. So like the agriculture we've been talking about, like the small and medium scales, promote some people. And, just yesterday, somebody called me offering her services as a medical doctor, wanting to come and do some, some work. And I thought that was completely compatible. Yes, so they've already started. So another one called me, the last time I visited Atlanta, so she works there, and also, told me she would like to come home and start up and do so many things. So they've already started, and this is what we want to see. Just go a little bit step further than the remittances, and let us, work together in building this and make this state as beautiful as it is. It's called the state of harmony. You need to see what we have on offer. So let's export Kwara to the rest of Africa and to the world. To the world. And I think that's the message I have for Kwaran diasporans. Yes. And that would be something to behold. We want more and more of them to come.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Olufolake Abdulrazak. It's quite interesting talking to you today, and we appreciate your effort and support to be here, given the fact that you have a very tight and busy schedule. Thank you so much for talking to me on the show today. Also, Mr. Francis Anatogu, Senior Special Assistant to the Nigeria President on Public Sector. Thank you so much, Mr. Francis, for taking time out to talk to me today on the show. Also, my brother in Washington, D.C. here with me, Mr. Dr. Gabriel Yao. I think you will have to take your next vacation to Kwara State to see the amazing waterfall. They have and let's compare that with the Canadian waterfall and see how we can project that to the rest of the world. What do you have to say, Mr. Dr. Yao? What do you have to say to the essay to the President and Our Excellency?
No, I think it was great to be part of this discussion. For sure, Nigeria is a country that is really dear to my heart. I worked there for 9 years, working at the ECOWAS Secretariat in Abuja, and I was lucky to visit at least 22 countries, 22 states from Maiduguri all the way through, but I've not been to Kwara. So that is a good invitation that I'll definitely,
yeah.
I'll go in that place.
So it's time for you to
the special assistant. I think this is a very important discussion. I think we need to keep be in touch and see how we can really help convince the diaspora here in the US and across the world to come and invest in the continent. I think they are the ambassadors. We need to rely on them. We need to create a conducive environment for them to come, to be confident. They are prime investor. They can actually come with angel investor from the US, from all over the world to come. Let's create the platform for them to be able to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much, everyone watching from all around the world. My name, once again, Abdul Rashid Abu Bakr. Until we meet again next week on the New Frontier Africa, I say thank you. Have a nice day. Have a wonderful week, the rest of your week, and bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.